everyone, it's Jeannie, and today I am showcasing this shaker card that features the new stamp set called Winter Burrow. I'm pulling out this older Slimline stitch card panel and windows die set to use for this particular card. So I'm going to go through my stamping really quickly, and I'm going to show one masking stamp out. This is using the tree and the little snow cap on top, and I just masked that out and I'm stamping everything else as is. One of the images that I am using is the hedgehog, and I actually wanted to use a reverse image of it. So I have a piece of acetate and I'm placing it in my Misti, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp directly on the acetate. And once I have it stamped fully, I will flip it over and press it onto my white cardstock. I'm just going to press my hands right over the acetate and it will transfer the image. So I do later go in with a Copic friendly pen just to trace everything over. It's not 100% perfect. There are other ways of doing it, but this is my preferred method, even though it does require some additional work of outlining the image. And I think that it works really well for me. I have mirror image stamps that I can use to create it, but I don't really like it because it just doesn't work as well and it requires extra materials, and I just like to pull a piece of acetate or packaging to create a reverse image, and yeah, that's my preferred method. For all the items in my little scene, I already went ahead and cut them out and I am coloring them up. So I'm going to show you guys all the coloring just because a lot of people are interested in the coloring. And for all my coloring recently, I have just been doing very simple coloring. I've been making a ton of cards and I wanted to do quick coloring. So what I do is I'm usually always using 3 Copic markers, and I will go in with the darkest color and work my way out to the lightest, blending out the color. Some things like the snowman, I am only using 1 or 2 colors just to blend it out because I want it to look white. So here you can see the hedgehog after I outlined it, and you can't even tell that I had to go in and outline it. And while my outlining might not be 100% perfect, sometimes I will also use darker colors to hide any mistakes or misoutlines that I might have done while going over the image. But it works really well as for creating a base, and I do like to outline my images after a card is made just because I like a bold black outline. And sometimes I don't stamp perfectly, and sometimes when you use blending inks over the ink, it kind of loses its vibrancy, so I will go ahead and outline. But I thought that this card would be really cute because last year I created a similar shaker card. It was using the same die set, which is the stitched card panel and windows. There is 3 pieces for the card base and then 1 piece that's all together that cuts out 3 windows. And I believe I had 3 little kitties in that card, and it was also a shaker card. I thought that it was a really fun one to do, and I wanted to recreate it because it's just adorable. I changed up the images from the Winter Burrow stamp set, and I thought it worked really well. So this stamp set is actually an add-on to the Bunny Burrow stamp set that was released a couple months ago. And I know that it's an add-on, but I thought that it would be nice to showcase it without the previous stamp set. So even if you didn't have the Bunny Burrow stamp set, you can definitely use this stamp set as a standalone to create a full card without having the previous stamp if you didn't have it or if you didn't want to purchase it as well. I like the fact that a lot of the add-ons for Trinity stamps can be used standalone, and I really like that fact because it just adds more critters, and I think that it is a really versatile stamp set that can be used for multiple things. So for my card base, I am going in with mustard seed, picked Raspberry and Wilted Violet. I kind of wanted a very soft daylight sky going into the nighttime, and I love this color combination. I am blending this using the blending buddies, but I'm not going for the super smooth blend just because I want a little bit of that cloudy sky kind of look, so nothing is completely perfect. So I'm going in kind of rough, and I'm not trying to create a very blended look, and I don't go over this too much. I just go in to add more color to the card base, and that's about it. The colors on this card panel will show through on the shaker card, and I'll also be adding a little snowbank at the bottom of the card, and I just cut a piece of the card panel that was slightly larger than the card base I was cutting, just because I wanted enough room to make sure that all three colors that I'm using will show up. So to finish off this card base, I am going in with some Perfect Pearls with water and splattering it all over. My little puddle is on the side on my glass mat just because I needed to mix the Perfect Pearls with the water, but it turned out really pretty and it gives this iridescent look. I also went in with a little bit of white gouache just to add to the vibrancy and give a more snowy effect, but not like heavy snow. So I added in the splatter. I kind of like the variation of the glitteriness from the Perfect Pearls and then the stark white color from the gouache. So I'm using the largest card base in this die set, and it will create the base, and it will also cut out the three windows, which I'm placing right in the middle. I'm kind of guesstimating because you can choose to angle it, you can choose to have it more aligned on the left or the right. It's just up to you and how you want the shaker to look. Once I cut out everything, I'm going to keep all my pieces, including the little rainbow, and that will help me line up my shaker for later. But I am using all those pieces. So for the snowbank, I am using the Slimline Scenic border die, which is this wavy die that has a stitched edge and it looks really pretty. So I'm going to cut out a piece of white cardstock using that, and then I will go ahead and grab the card panel that I had previously cut out my card base with, and that will finish off this little snowbank and include the stitching that is also on my main card base, which was really pretty, and I like the stitch patterns on it just because you can always cut it out using your paper trimmer if you don't have the stitch card panels, but I thought that that would make the card very cohesive and go together well. So once I have my little snowbank, I will be going in to add a bit of color to it just to add in some blue. So I'm going to go in with, I believe it's Broken China because it's a very light blue, and adding it to the top of the snowbank. Later on, I'll be also adding some blue color to the bottom of the snowbank because I am popping this up on a piece of white cardstock for the base. So what I do for shaker cards is that anytime I'm using the full card panel that I have cut out, I want to make sure that it will line up properly. So I taped my main card panel to my card base, and I'm going to go ahead and glue in all the little windows. I want these windows to line up correctly when I add that main card base on top with foam. So I cut a piece of acetate for this, and I'm just adding double-sided adhesive on the very back of the card panel, and I'm going to go ahead and add the acetate. Because I want to create a shaker card, I want to make sure that none of the shaker bits will fall out. So once the acetate is adhered to the card panel, I will be actually going in to create my little scene on the main card panel first. So I'm just going to glue the snowbank at the very bottom of the panel, and that will create kind of the ground for my scene. And once I do that, I will go in and add all my little critters, the trees and the presents to this card. And I definitely picked to stamp out 3 trees because I wanted 1 tree in each window or area. And I wanted the 2 hedgehogs on the left hand and the right hand side just so that it looks like they're playing with each other, which is really cute. And this is a perfect card to go to a friend, and you can always change it up if you wanted the hedgehog to be a boy. It does have eyelashes, so she is playing in the snow with all the presents and the snowman. But I am a big fan of manipulating your stamp sets so you can get different uses out of it. So you definitely could have changed up her eyes so it looked like a boy if you want a boy and girl playing in the snow. But here I just kept it because I wanted it for 2 girlfriends to be playing in the snow. After I adhered all my little images to the card, I went ahead and stamped my sentiment first because I will be adding foam tape on the back of this card panel to create that shaker. I do like to stamp all my sentiments before I put any foam tape underneath the card panel just because you want to make sure you get an even stamping for the card. So I'm lining the entire card panel with foam tape, and that will create that dimension so any shaker bits that you're putting into the shaker card will be able to shake. So I'm taping down my card base and adding a bunch of glitter. I just have this big bottle of glitter from, I think it's Hobby Lobby, and I wanted to use it up. And I've had this for years and it's barely like halfway done. And it's just very universal that I use and pull out a lot around Christmas time and the winter time because it works so well for snow, and also it moves very well in shaker cards. So once I have the glitter bits all ready to go, I'm going to remove the backing on the foam tape and work really hard to line it up perfectly because I already had used that main panel to make sure that the squares were placed perfectly. I just needed to line it up correctly right over the little squares, and our shaker card is done. This card seems complicated, but it was really simple and it was a really fun one to recreate using a different stamp set, and it's super versatile. You can change it from a horizontal card to a vertical card and it would be just as cute. So that is it for today's card. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time for another video. Have a great day. Bye.